So you've completed a lesson or a class in Alexander Technique, and you're beginning to understand how the quality of the balance of your head on your spine is a game changer to easy movement throughout your body. Follow along with these movement explorations, and you can begin to map your AO joint with your hands and movement, and to discover afresh what your Alexander teacher was showing you with their hands-on work. Let's start with mapping the cylinder that is your neck, and use our kinesthetic imagination to accurately locate the front of our spine. So very gently with your hands, get a sense of the dimension of the cylinder shape of muscle that you know as your neck. Your neck has length at the front and at the back and the sides. It's three-dimensional, and while all the muscle you can feel under your hand is for moving your head, you can know that at the very center of this cylinder is where the weight of your head is being supported and delivered to your spine. So all this neck musculature you're palpating doesn't have to do support. Instead, it's free for just moving your head. Now you can begin to gently stroke the back of your head for a while. When you were a baby, you might have had this kind of touch a lot of the time. It can be a warm and comforting sensation. After stroking for some time, you can stop actually stroking, but imagine that you're still experiencing that touch, and notice how you're balancing your head at the same time now. Try a small nod, and now the tiny movements of a no. You can even try drawing a tiny circle with the end of your nose round and round, a bit like a bobblehead doll. Now refresh the sense of the depth of your head by placing the palm of one hand on your forehead and the other hand gently cupping the back of your head. You can even try removing your hands, taking care not to change the distance too much, to see that depth. And placing your thumbs just behind your earlobes, bring your index fingers together to meet under your nose. While keeping your thumbs in place, swing your fingers back to meet at the back of your skull. With this exploration, you're discovering that ears are pretty much a halfway point from back to front of your skull. If you put your fingers in your ears, and if your fingers could grow towards each other, then where they would meet would be pretty much where your skull is balancing on your spine. Keep your fingers in place and do a little nodding yes here. And even use pulling forward a little on one finger, so on the right ear, then the other on the left ear. You'll find you're turning your head at that joint. Right there in the middle of the whole globe that is your head, we're exploring the movements at the AO joint. Placing your index fingers firmly behind your earlobes now, look up towards the ceiling, feeling the whole globe of your skull move between your fingers and the length that happens through the front of your neck. Now, while firmly maintaining that contact of your fingers behind your earlobes, slowly lower your eyes back to the horizon and notice how just your whole skull can move around this steady point. Some people report feeling distinctly longer and more open in the front part of their upper spine that we call our neck. Now place your thumb just behind your top front teeth and the fingers of your other hand at the base of your skull at the back. Don't nod your head, but instead put a little upward pressure on the front hand and it moves your whole head facing up. And a little upward pressure on the back hand now moves your whole head to look down a little. Feel the whole dimension of your skull as it moves between your fingers. Being mindful of your growing sense of just where your head balances on your spine, again, place your thumb behind your top teeth and use the index finger on this same hand to move your lower teeth gently away from the upper ones, creating some space between the two. The idea is not to do the movement, but rather ask your hand to do the moving of your jaw. Notice how the movement of the jaw is independent of any nodding of the skull. This is appropriate when you realize the jaw acts as a limb rather than part of the skull. And finally, contacting that sense of the AO joint being so central to your whole skull, use your index finger to gently but firmly press on the center of the top of your skull and move your top teeth to the left and then the right to experience easy movement at the joint.